watching to see how we transform this private beach property from this to this.
Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If it's your first time here, I'm Charlotte Foley, a civil engineer and a builder in Ghana. Today I'm taking you guys through our new project at Nanya No Kaswa. This is a private beach property overlooking the sea. Absolutely beautiful location. This project was handed over to us after the previous builder failed to execute the work properly. The previous builder had a good idea but poor execution. His plan was to suspend the whole foundation to cut costs that comes with failing, but failed to consult with the structural engineer and also to obtain survey data beforehand. The initial design was solely for foundation on grid. The beams designed were 300 by 150 mm, which wouldn't have been the case for a suspended floor. All the spans were too wide for the suspended design, which caused a lot of beams to sag and also some parts of the house to be stepped per architectural drawings were not executed properly. Beam casts were all sloping, the foundation was not straight, so to fix this, we started by picking the four corners of the existing foundation to compare to the architectural drawings. Also, we checked for the levels of the existing concrete to help in determining the final concrete level for the foundation. The whole floor was sloping. It is always important to use a leveling machine as this is more accurate and provides exact values for what's on the ground. When it comes to surveying, do not depend using lines because there are cumulative errors that comes with using the lines. It's always advisable to use your leveling machine and then use the lines as a guide. While we pick the levels, the guys were on site to start with the demolition works. So the initial plan was to suspend the whole floor over the existing one. So we're trying to save some of the pre-stressed beams used. But after we established the point on site, we realized that the levels were too high. The previous builder cast the guest room way higher than other parts of the house, causing the level at the far end to increase significantly. The difference in the levels between the lowest point and the highest point was around 1.3 meters. That's the average railing height, so imagine how high it was. The points marked with tapes indicate the final concrete level for the entire floor. It was at this point we said, no way. The foundation was going to be too high, about the height of a room, around 2.7 meters. The design of the building was going to change. The house was going to be too high, like a 3-story. There was the option for turning the highest point into a basement where we can have a gym and a parking car garage, but the architects didn't like the idea. It was going to cost more money than expected. There was also the option of stepping the floors, but the client did not want to do that. He preferred having everything level throughout. I know you are probably thinking, why didn't you just break everything and start all over? I couldn't tell the client that I'm going to have to demolish everything and then start all over, knowing well that we can work around what is already on site to make it work. So after further discussions with the architect, he opted that we break the highest point, which is the guest room area, so that we work back to reduce the level at the other end. Initially, we wanted to pick all the way to the end, but the difference wasn't that much. So we opted to break it to the floor level next to it, and then we transferred it all the way to the end. Once we did that, the levels were better. The height at the end dropped significantly. So you can see the initial mark was the tape, and then the second option was the green line. And then after we decided to go further, it dropped to
the next point. So we moved from this point to that point. So at the end, we had about 600 beam for the lowest point. We also worked on aligning the foundation. As I stated earlier, the foundation was not straight. So we started by marking out the positions of the new columns and the trenches. We excavated and then we cast the foundation for those parts. Also, the spans were too wide and the beam sizes were inadequate for a suspended floor, so we had to retrofit new columns. We ended up retrofitting 6 new columns to break the span and improve the structural stability. So we marked positions of the new columns, we excavated, and then we set them to be cast. We placed DPMs in all the trenches and pits to prevent rising damp. Next was laying block work in some parts of the foundation. This house has a sunken living room, so we had to dig the trenches around all the 4 sides, cast the trenches, and then lay the blocks flat to retain the soil. We noticed that all the block work laid had no concrete underneath, just mortar. So we had to redo most parts of the block work. We also had to break some parts of the beams to be resized. After block laying, we cast the columns and we painted the walls with beetle shield and started filling for the sunken area. We did same for the foyer. In your shots now is the area to be demolished. The green line shows the final concrete level to be obtained. Trust me, it is level. With the terrain of the land, if you don't do your survey checks right, you end up messing up. So we had to break from the top to below the green line and work up again to achieve that level we want. We started breaking off the top of the concrete. The more we broke, the more difficult it got. The thickness of the concrete increases to 32 inches. Breaking took 3 weeks. The further we went, the more mistakes we discovered. While breaking, we realized there was a heap of concrete underneath the slab, which indicates the pre-stress broke while they were casting, and they decided to reinforce it and then cast more concrete on top, which resulted in the 32-inch concrete thickness. This house has a water feature at the entrance, so we had to cast a beam to retain that water. Here in the shot is the blinding for that beam. Initially, we decided to design the foyer as suspended, but after breaking the guest room area, we had a lot of debris we could use to fill the foyer area. So we closed up the last area, painted, and then we filled that area too. The back of the house wasn't aligned properly, so we had to work on that too. Once the filling for the sunken living area was halfway full, we did our first phase of compaction. Due to the height and volume of the filling used, it was best to compact in phases to avoid settlement issues. After breaking, we went back to establish the final concrete level from the demolished area to all other areas. Once the levels were established, we started by removing the existing block work and we proceeded to excavate, pour concrete, and then lay the blocks again to the desired levels. We ended up breaking 2.5 areas because they were too high. And with those areas, we laid the blocks, painted them with bitumen, filled with laterite, and compacted them. And right after, we started working on the ground beams. The steel benders got to site and started to work on the ground beams. This house has a suspended barbecue area, so we set the columns and also cast the round columns so the carpenters can start working on the suspended barbecue area. Here they were moving the debris to the foyer area. The steel benders have started placing the ground beams. Areas of the suspended slab that were retrofitted with columns required inverted beams. By doing this, we drilled through the concrete at regular intervals and placed rods using metal anchor chemical to make dowels which causes the beams to act as one. Once the placements of beams were done and round columns were cast, the carpenters got to site to start boarding the beams, and work on the slab extension for the barbecue area also started. The last part of the slab breaking was also going on, as well as leveling of the other areas to be compacted. After the carpentry works, we got to casting of the ground beams. Due to the nature of the design of the house, we had to cast some parts before the others. After casting, we topped up with more laterite for other areas and compacted again after several watering down of the laterite. The electrician was also on site to place pipes for light provision for the open garage area and its entrance. So now you can see the foundation is gradually taking shape. Where they are currently compacting is a sunken living area. The area behind it is a foyer, and the area next to it, right behind it, is a pond area and entrance of the house. Now we have some parts of the house on the ground and other parts suspending. Even though the beginning of this house was not done right, this house is going to turn out great. The design of this house is beautiful, and I will try and post the 3D videos from the architect. After the second phase of compaction, the carpenters got back to site to board the remaining beams for them to be cast. We cast the sunken living area of slab, and we also cast the beams for the foyer and pond area so as to make compaction easier. After we did the final compaction for the pond area, main entrance, and then the foyer, that's where you can see now. So that area is the pond area, and the other end is the foyer area. After compaction, the plumber got to site and started work. The previous builder didn't place any plumbing pipes, so we had to work on that. Laying pipes for such a terrain in this condition wasn't easy, since some parts of the house were on the ground and others were suspended. Drilling through the pre-stressed slab to attain the levels was not an option, but we got it done right. We also topped parts of the already cast suspended floor with laterite. With these areas, we didn't water the laterite down. This is to keep the density of the soil as it is. We also compacted those areas manually because we didn't want a lot of vibrations that comes with a compactor on the slab. We reinforced those areas and we cast all over them. The steel bender got on site to reinforce all areas to be cast. Always remember to place spacers underneath your reinforcements. Serve as a cover for your rods. We used bigger sizes of spacers for the columns and beams for this particular project because of its proximity to the sea. After reinforcing the floor, we got to casting. This was day 1. We ensured a good concrete mix because the combination of moisture, salt, and poor quality of concrete increases the chances of the concrete flaking off, resulting in spalling. This causes the reinforcements to corrode, which reduces the durability of the structure. We also add super plasticizers to our concrete mix to enhance the performance of the concrete and improve its strength. And that's how we achieved a level floor throughout this building. That's all for today. Kindly subscribe to this channel for more updates on our various projects. Give this video a thumbs up and share with someone who needs to see this. Also, Merry Christmas to all my amazing subscribers and viewers. I hope this festive season brings you joy, love, and lots of laughter. Thank you all for your support this year, and I wish you all the best in your building journey. Enjoy the rest of the video and see you on the next one. Bye!